All right, we'll call this meeting to order. This is Management Audit Committee, March 5th. For interim topics, could you please take roll?
Senator Dockstader.
Here.
Senator Ide.
Here.
Senator McEwen.
Here.
Senator Olson.
Here.
Senator Rothfuss.
Excused?
Representative Lean.
Here.
Representative Locke.
Present.
Representative Rodriguez Williams.
Here.
Representative Sherwood.
Excused?
Vice Chairman Larson.
Here.
Chairman Knapp.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have our interim topics and we'll just go down our long list here of concepts. And I would say since we are an oversight committee and we don't meet during session, or we didn't meet during session, our regular aspects of audit review can be used to cover any other topics that you'd like to come up with. I'd like them to fit under that, but we'll like to hear all ideas today. So the first one, Vice Chairman, is administrative rule legislation review. And is that one you submitted?
Oh, it's the management audits. It's the one we were, Senate File 63.
Oh. So if you just want to give us background on this, Senate File 63.
I'm not sure if I can give you very well, Mr. Chairman, thank you, but this was the bill that we were needing to come up with. And in our chamber, it died, and the main reason was we were looking at any if it affected $200,000, then they had to do a review on it. And that's the comment I had. I don't know. We should bring it up again. Maybe LSO staff might help us out.
Matt, do you have information on that bill?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. As you recall, Senate File 127 was passed in the 2025 session. And the effective date of that bill wasn't until July 1st of 2026. And what that bill did was it gave us an opportunity to come back to the legislature with our thoughts on the original bill and how it might be changed, how it might be improved. We did that through, it was House Bill 106 for the 2026 session. That bill failed introduction in the Senate. And so we had some ideas on ways that we could improve that legislation, but they simply were not considered during this session. In some, I think Vice Chairman Larson's point, the threshold, the monetary threshold, as it stands now, as it was passed in Senate File 127, is $1 million per year. In our proposal for this session would have dropped that threshold to $200,000 per year. Two of the other things that our draft bill would have done this year is it would have exempted emergency rules from regulatory impact analyses. You'll recall that emergency rules really mirror regular rules. But typically when you promulgate rules, you'll have to go through 2 filings of emergency rules, followed by your filing of regular rules. And so really what it does is it just duplicates work by having emergency rules fall under the definition of major rules. So that was another change that we had proposed that again failed when the bill did not pass introduction. The last one really was just it removed the management council to some degree from decision-making authority on which of those rules would be subject to regulatory impact analysis. It really just streamlined the process somewhat. But that too was one of the amendments that we proposed in House Bill 106, which failed introduction. So I think if we were to take this up as an interim topic, I think those would be good starting points. I think there may be some additional concerns and maybe some additional questions that if we were to look at this as an interim topic, we could certainly revisit those and potentially propose some changes for the next legislative session.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Is there anybody in the room that wishes to speak on this, Mr. Treasurer?
I got another idea that you guys would, continue to look at the rules. I know when I was chairman, essentially, every standing committee that had a bill through it and passed would come back to us and we try to do it. So that was the process.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the room that would like to come up and speak on this? No? All right. The next one for consideration is the audit special districts non-compliance, fits under our purview. Jamie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was just to continue on with some audits to help out our good audit department to review the non-compliance, see which ones are the biggest offenders and where's the process broken and how can we help those districts.
Thank you. Anybody in the room like to speak on this topic? Okay, are there any questions for the treasurer? I'll have him come up and speak if you go ahead and introduce yourself and comments. And I don't know that we have any questions, but
Okay,
just any
but
comment.
yeah, I guess State Treasurer Kurt Meyer, a recovering legislator. And I guess we kind of tackled this a little bit in the 90s. And what we found out is that I think a lot of it could be solved by some different training and different things. I know they have grant trainings, but a lot of times you'll get a whole bunch of new people into a political subdivision or a special district, and they don't know what they're doing. They just don't. And so I think if there's some way that, and I know that the cities, towns, and counties have WHAM, and they do some special training for new incoming people. I don't know if anything exists like that with special districts, but a lot of it is just actually letting the people know what they don't know that they should know, and then some of it essentially is that some of them don't even meet because they don't have anything to do, and nothing gets done. So there's all kinds of reasons why things aren't followed the way they should, and they're not excuses. I'm not saying the excuses that any of these should be excused. It's just that that's kind of what happens sometimes. But I think education is something that was easier to follow, for these folks. And if they're smaller, maybe compliances that aren't as onerous, cemetery district that may only bury one person a year, might have a different thing than somebody in a town that's doing 100 or 200 people a year. So I think there's some things where you can make it easy for some of the folks, and then that I'm not saying that you got to get rid of these things, because people got to have books that are right and they're balanced and all those other things. And there's things that you don't overlook. But I think education can solve a lot of it.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Treasurer. We had one from, oh, you don't? Okay, sorry. Sorry. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have questions under this topic for Department of Audit, if they're willing to come up.
Okay, could we have Department of Audit? welcome. If you can introduce yourselves, and then we'll start with questions.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Justin Chavis, the Director of the Department of Audit, and I have with me Rich Cummings. He's our Public Funds Administrator.
Representative Rodriguez Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you for coming today. Since our last meeting, we've had several reports that have come from you, non-compliance reports. Some of them are obviously years old. And I guess that's where I kind of want to get feedback. By the time we meet the next time, perhaps some of these reports might already be in compliance, or they might still be non-compliant. I guess my question is moving forward, if somehow the committee can get maybe an updated list of non-compliant reports, that we can consider, bringing some of these special districts or groups in front of the committee. I'm just looking for feedback on that, since some of these are outdated.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Representative Rodriguez Williams. So we have on our website a current list of all entities that are non-compliant, and that gets updated as we get stuff. So I think currently there's only 2 entities who have haven't provided at least the census report, which is that first report of your revenues and expenditures. We have a number of them that we're waiting on their required CPA audit. But that list is continually updated.
And maybe on your spreadsheet, when we do go to present in that first meeting or whichever meeting it is, if you could have your top, I would say offenders, I guess, that have gone on for a number of years, that I know the ones that you're working with and that are starting to comply or getting in that are good, but if we could have those that maybe are a little bit more troublesome and concentrate on those, would that be something that you would recommend?
Mr. Chairman, yes. And I think we have, it might need to be updated, but we do also have an informational brief out on our website that has entities that have been non-compliant for multiple years out there, but we can update that list. So
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, Senator Dockstader.
Mr. Chairman, what's the reason for the non-compliance? Is kind of, is there repeat problems? Why are we seeing this?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Dockstader, kind of depends on the entity. Some of it is, I think, as the treasurer alluded to, people that don't necessarily have financial background to complete the stuff. I think it kind of varies based on the entity in terms of why they're not getting stuff into us. CPA reports, sometimes that's CPA capacity, sometimes it's poor records. And so we try to do as much outreach as we can to let them know what they're missing and what they need to get into us. But I think it depends by entity, kind of what's driving that.
Yes, Senator McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When you provide us the list of the people on the top you think we need to look at, and will that list have the reasons or the meat behind what they're doing wrong?
Mr. Chairman, Senator McCown, I think we could add that to what we present. Yeah.
Please do. Thank you.
Any other questions? I had one. Have you seen over at least the last couple of years a better representation of CPAs that do audits in Wyoming? I know that's been one of the major issues, even with larger counties, of having at least somewhere to go for those special audits, I would say, which less CPAs are doing in Wyoming.
Mr. Chairman, I'd say, anecdotally, what we hear is firms in Wyoming kind of pulling out of the government audit space. And so capacity, trying to find Wyoming firms to do it, I think is definitely an issue that the entities are running into. We had one fairly recently that, they sent out an RFP to 15 Wyoming firms and got 0 responses. And so I think definitely, at least anecdotally, we've heard that Wyoming firms are kind of pulling back from that area, leaving entities having to look at out-of-state firms. Now, I think we've got firms in surrounding states that probably have some capacity to fill in those gaps if those entities are willing to look out of state for firms. But I think in-state firms are kind of, we've heard that they're kind of pulling back.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Representative Lean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. While you're speaking about these firms that are pulling back and anticipation of AI coming forward, are there some tools within the artificial intelligence that your department could use to help speed along some of these audits?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Lean. So we have started to make use of AI in some areas. It's still probably something that's got to be used with a little bit of caution, but we are exploring uses for that can help us kind of accomplish more with what we have.
All right, follow up. And then my suggestion would be to, if there's any entity that that the committee is specifically aware of or concerned with, if they could provide that to staff to get to the Department of Audit so that they can have that information, that background information when we do come to a meeting. So, all right. Thank you. Yes, Representative Rodriguez Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question for the treasurer, if he is willing to come back up.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Treasurer. Kind of, I guess, on a related topic that we're under. I had a few questions for you about unclaimed property and monetary amounts that are listed on your website. One of the things that I've noticed is there's a significant amount of listings on it where the state of Wyoming is listed as an owner.
Mhm.
And there's obviously like different holder names. I know in other states this has gotten brought up, but I'm just curious, how would the state claim their own money
Wow,
from
that's
your
interesting. That's
website?
a question that I'll have to I guess ask our head Jeff Robertson about that. I don't think that's actually come across my desk yet. So, but I will get the answer for you, and I guess put in a pitch for you guys looking at updating the rules and stuff that we have, because they haven't been. I think we're under a 1981 rules that basically that was the last update that we had, and so we're not asking for a lot in that one there. We're just trying to get being able to take emails and electronic payments and things like that, some real simple ones. But if you guys are really interested in unclaimed property, there's a lot of things we can't do that other states can do, and so we just want to make sure that we're giving the best service to the folks in Wyoming that we can, and those things are gonna. I think we've asked for the last 3 or 4 years to try to get an update on that, and so it would be nice to actually move forward with that. But I'll get you that answer about how we actually pay ourselves. Okay, and because I guess if there was different holders in that, we should be able to, to identify them. And, if it's, schools, or whether it's even the legislature or whomever, we should be able to basically be able to, make some distributions, because we make distributions monthly and quarterly, to practically every agency in the state. So we should be able to, I think, do that internal audit and get that together.
Follow up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Treasurer. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a substantial amount of unclaimed funds that are listed on your website, where the owner, again, is the state of Wyoming.
State, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in, the government has no money. It's the taxpayer dollars
Well,
that
yeah, we
are
ought to- we
that
ought
are
to
caught
get
up on the
it
website.
back. So,
Mr. Treasurer.
yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
looking at the holder names, I mean, there's quite a few holder names, everything from utility companies to banks, gaming corporations, et cetera. So I'm excited to, learn more about this and
All
try
right.
to figure out how we can get this money back, I guess, to the people, or,
Yeah. Well, a lot of times those things, I guess, is what you have is a holder that is somebody that actually owes some money to you, and so, we'll get that. And then, when the money comes in, then we identify who it is, we reach out. But if we're not reaching out to ourselves or to, whether it's the AG's office or somebody else, in government, to make sure that money gets back to them, so then that can actually go back in, and maybe it'll get into reversions, end up in the general fund.
Thank you. All right, committee, are there any other topics that, besides these two, that you would entertain for interim? Yes, Mr. Vice Chair.
Mr. Chairman, we lost a lot of bills. I don't know if anybody's interested to talk about them again or not, but we just did lose one, subpoena penalties, and we shouldn't have. I would recommend we bring that back, but are asked to.
All
The
right.
committee would want to discuss it again.
Is there anybody that would like to discuss subpoena penalties?
Oh, no, I got another interim topic, but you guys go.
All right. What's your interim topic,
Uh,
Mr. Treasurer?
I think it's been a long time since we actually looked at the return that we're having in all kinds of state land leases. And there's a lot of leases out there to get them renewed. They're like $2 an acre every 2 years or something, so I think it would probably be a good idea to have the folks in the audit division actually do a fairly in-depth thing, look at some of the stuff that's our surrounding states. If it's something like the oil industry or something like that, then that's a national issue. But I think gravel is like $60 a ton. That's actually what you pay. There's no escalation clause. With the data centers and stuff. I mean, my gosh, I don't know what gravel is, but I know concrete's like $250, $300 more a yard. So I'm assuming gravel has gone up like that. So maybe it's $45 or $50 a yard, but you're only getting a set fee of 60. I think you can look at maybe more of a royalty system on some of these things that are like flat rates. Might be, reasonable to look at. But first, I get a whole, I guess, idea about, what everything land is leased for, whether it's special purpose uses or, I think there's a big disconnect, perhaps on what somebody pays on solar panels. I got a neighbor up there who's getting $500,000 a section on solar panels. They got $230 an acre before they actually were installed. It's over on that line clear on the east side of the state that's going from Nebraska to Colorado, but it's basically right underneath that line. And so $500,000 is like 200 years of leases for grazing cattle, 200 years. you know, and I know that we're not getting that much out of wind leases. So maybe something figuring out what do you get on a per kilowatt hour basis on some of these things. I know that people really don't like renewable resources, but I mean, if they're still legal, we should be getting paid for them, I guess is what I'm thinking, you know, I mean, so that's, I think, reasonable to look at and see what those things are. And it's just like anything on state lands, it all goes into the public education. And so then you guys, when you have these things where they come up with, you're gonna, you know, actually have to do these recalibrations from time to time. You know, if that corpus is building faster because you're getting what you should be getting off of the state land part of it, then that takes a little bit of heat off of you to do things. I mean, we can take a lot of heat off with our office, but you know, that's a basis that state lands were pretty much built on. And if you look at Article 18, Section 3, you know, it basically says that the legislature is limited by the Constitution, the board is limited by the Constitution to get as much money back to the public education, you know. So those are things that, you know, I think that we need to look at. I don't think they've been looked at. I don't think we did a deep dive any time in the 24 years I was in the deal. So it's probably past time to actually see what we're actually getting off of that million some acres and the 3 million some mineral estate that we have. So, you know, it's one of the largest investments that the state has. And so actually drilling into it and knowing, you know, what other people, other states are getting, what we're getting, and really in this whole thing here, when it gets to the legislative thing, that's when industry comes in and they tell you their opinion, you know. But first of all, I think that management audit can actually get you the facts. And once you get the facts, then you can bring those facts to industry, have that discussion. So, and then there's other things on state lands that people get for free, you know, and this is something that we tried and approached, maybe putting a stamp on hunting license. I tell you what, that did not go very far, you know, just to let you know, but that was probably 12, 15 years ago. But, you know, we want to have multiple uses of state lands. And I think we need to have that conversation about, you know, how we actually can have those multiple uses, but at the same time, realize that the main resource and the main reason that we had Congress give those lands to us is really for the public education.
All right. Any questions on return on state land leases from the committee? All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right, guys.
All right. We'll take any comments from the public. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm Bob McLaurin with WHAM on the audit issue. Just wanted to let you know that WHAM wants to work with the committee and the Department of Audit to bring all of our municipalities into compliance. A big portion of our summer and winter conferences on the fiscal responsibility you have as elected officials. And most recently, we've started a program where some of these smaller towns that we would actually do some contract financial management for them to ensure compliance. We just kicked that off about a couple of months ago. We have 4 or 5 of our smallest towns that have enrolled in that, but just wanted to assure the committee that we want to make sure our members are compliant with all the necessary statutes and procedures, and whatever we can do to help. We're here.
All right. That's good to hear. Any questions on WHAM's participation in that? Yes, Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I think I probably asked this before, but you do ask the Department of Audit to come to that meeting and.
We've worked in the past with the Department of Audit, and I'm going to grab these fellows after this meeting and make sure that we're coordinating, because we're not the municipal police, but if they're out of compliance, we're happy to call them and, you know, rattle the cage, if you will, to say, hey, come on, let's get this done. So we have worked with them in the past, and we'll continue to work with them to ensure compliance.
Sure. Follow up?
Follow up on that, I think, my question was, I hope they're there to help guide.
Yes.
And give us some, give those small towns,
Yes.
you know, as a whole group of, what we're looking for.
Right. I believe we have a great working relationship with the Department of Audit. I don't work with them specifically, but we consider them partners. We want to make sure that all of our members are in compliance. And as you've heard previously, we have a shortage of CPAs, and in some of these towns, you know, the town clerk works part-time. But we're very hopeful this new financial services that we're providing will be of help to some of the smaller communities.
All right. And I do know, just in testimony in the past, some of our non-compliance cities and towns that have come, or districts even, have said how much benefit that is for the Department of Audit.
Yeah.
We work very well together, so.
Okay. Well, like I said, we'll be meeting with these, and some of our members will be getting some calls,
All
see what
right.
we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the
Mr.
room?
Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. One more question.
So
Senator
what
Dockstein.
I'm hearing for even my smallest little communities across the state, there's a catch net. Everybody's going to be taken care of. That addresses our concerns here as a council. That's correct. Okay.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Anybody else from the public want to comment on any of these items or any other items? And there's nobody online? All right. So, yes, Representative Rodriguez Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have one more idea. Consider.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay. A good colleague and I were chatting about the law enforcement unit of the livestock board, the state's livestock board, and looking over the past couple of years of thefts that's listed online. And I'm just curious if we can invite them to a future meeting and just kind of ask about their and analyze their efficiency and so forth. Just have a conversation.
All right. Any other comments? And I would say that's under our non-compliance subject title too, for that, can be specific. So what I've got down here, and I'm not, we have 2 meetings, so I'm not sure that we would need to prioritize, but the administrative rules review is going to be probably one topic. And then the bills that would be resubmitted, we can just kind of lump those under one: unclaimed property, return on state land leases, and then our regular non-compliance report and review. So does anybody have any other topics they'd like to bring to the meeting? All right. With that, Vice Chairman Larson.
Maybe, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Maybe staff has some comments on dates or something and ideas on meetings. Is that okay, Mr. Chair?
Yes. Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, in just the brief conversation that we had last week, trying to pin down not only the number of meetings, but how long those meetings would last. What we had settled on was 2 meetings, 2 one-day meetings, preferably one in the month of June, one in the month of August. The weeks that we had identified would be the week of June 22nd, and then the week of August 10th or August 17th. I will remind the committee that the week of August 17th is the week of primary elections, which will occur on Tuesday, August 18th. So
That would take our
Previous
mind
week,
That would take
maybe.
our mind off things.
Previous
That would
week, maybe.
take our mind off things. All right.
But those were the discussions that we'd had up to this point. So I think that as far as scheduling goes, if those weeks sound agreeable to everyone, I think that any of the days for those weeks would certainly be acceptable to staff.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or issues with those weeks that were presented?
Mr. Chairman, I think JAC is trying to do the 24th and the 25th, so just so you know. Of June.
All right. So my suggestion would be to pick dates out of those 2 weeks, send it out to the committee members and everybody confirm that that's acceptable.
Mr. Chairman, we'll be glad to do that. We'll avoid the 24th and 25th of June.
All right. Yes, Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I hate to bring this up also, but if we could have it in the center of the state, I would appreciate
Mhm.
that.
How does the committee feel about that? Casper is okay with people for meeting place, both meetings? All right, so Casper, it'll be Mr. Petrie.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All right, any other comments or questions? With that, the meeting is adjourned.